Let me. Can you see that?
Yes, I can. Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
please advance to the next screen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Borough of Crafton's council meeting for Monday, August 24th, 2020. Next slide, please. Flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
I'm sorry, tried to unmute myself. Mr. Ayla,
Here.
Mr. Amendola, Mr. Kraus,
Here.
Mr. Crown,
Here.
Mr. Lavasser,
Here.
Ms. Perry,
Here.
Mr. Saba,
Here.
Mayor Bloom,
Here.
Solicitor Mr. Corbel.
Here.
I don't think Mr. Mintzman makes this meeting, and I am here. Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Proceeding with the approval of the bill list dated August 24th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? Hearing none. Approval of the bills list. Thank you. Moving forward, approval of the minutes, August 10th, 2020.
So moved.
Do we hear a second? Somebody?
Second.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All that oppose? Thank you. Approval of the minutes. Acknowledgement of the receipt of written reports for July 2020 includes the treasurer's report, the financial report, Act 511, and trash collection report, property tax collection report, police report, engineer report, EMS report, code enforcement report, and building inspection and managers reports. All right. Thank you. Any questions about those reports from council? Hearing none. Moving forward to citizen comments. Please note that all public comments will be heard at the beginning of the meeting due to the online meeting format. At this time, citizens may address the Borough Council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record. And again, you must be a resident taxpayer of the Borough of Crafton. Thank you. Mr. Vice President, do we have anybody in the waiting room looking to speak?
Looks like Mary Luxbacher has raised her hand, Mr. President.
All right. Ms. Luxbacher, could you please state your name and address for the record?
Mary Luxbacher, 71 Dinsmore Avenue, Crafton, PA.
Thank you.
No, I did review the agenda in advance, and I know Councilman Anthony had mentioned about possibly having an agreement of some sort to meet with the school board concerning the property, and I just wondered if anything had been set up yet.
Okay. We will address that question at the end of the meeting, unless we want, Anthony, you want to speak to that right now?
I can speak to that right now.
Okay.
As of right now, the school district has not said one way or the other if they would like to have a public meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for inquiring on that. I know that had been mentioned. I did want to say over the last 2 weeks, we've probably had easily 100 more people play at mini golf. Just throwing that out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if I could ask the chair to be recognized for a moment.
Sure, Mr. Kraus.
Yeah, to Mary's point, I actually have reached out to Mr. Shriver personally in regards to the comments I made in the last meeting, and during that time that I reached out to him, I personally asked Mr. Shriver if he would reach out to Mr. McKibben and Mr. Sample, using their professional staff as a conduit between the two entities, being the borough and the school board. He did indicate that he would try to reach out to us at some point to facilitate some kind of joint meeting to speak to the public, clear the air, and set the record straight. But the date of that, being as though that I am not the president of council and I cannot make policy, I was not able to set that time up myself. So I just want to make sure that I can say that I've spoken to Mr. Shriver. That's the information I have, and I want to just relay that to this body.
All right,
Thank you.
Mr. President, may I then add a remark, please?
Yes, please.
Again, for the record, I attended the last school board meeting. I spoke as a single member of council, making a similar indication that I believed our council would be open to meeting in such a way. So there have been multiple reach outs, mine in public and on the record. Just for the record, thank you.
Thank you. All right, and I believe Mr. McKibben has had some type of preliminary discussion with the school superintendent, just to touch base. Is that accurate, Mr. McKibben?
Yeah, we had a conversation. Waiting for policy decisions from superintendent, from his board and from mine. And then we will go from there once that is formulated and put into motions.
For the record, I see that Mr. Amendola has joined the meeting and has his hand up to be recognized for attendance, I believe.
Okay. Mr. McKibben, could you note that Mr. Amendola is present for the meeting?
Already done, sir.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if he had something to say.
Yeah, I
but
can't see.
He
Here we
should be
go.
able to. He should
Oh,
be able
there
to
you go.
unmute himself.
Okay. Yeah. Fred, go ahead. I'll unmute you, but you can also unmute yourself. Go ahead. You're recognized. I'm lowering your hand. Go ahead and speak.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just wondering, why do we need more meetings? I mean, haven't you people gotten the clue from the input from the citizens that, you know, they don't want this, and now you're scheduling more meetings, more public meetings. It's just, you're dragging it out. Take the hint. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Amendola. Mr. Alo, do we have anybody else from the public that would like to make a public comment?
No one else has their hands raised, Mr. President.
Okay, with that, I'm going to proceed to the President's report. I wanted to inform everybody that Crafton Borough was contacted by State Representative Dan Deasy to inform us of good news from Harrisburg. Through the governor's office, we were awarded $250,000 to support the Crafton Boulevard project. We were awarded those through the small sewer program. There were about $8 million awarded to municipalities across the across the Commonwealth. And again, that dollar amount will go towards paying our cost of the liability, responsibility to fund the project. Of course, we're going to continue to have to support a funding mechanism to fund construction. However, that will pay for double-digit amounts of our cost share for that project. So that is good news from Harrisburg. We really appreciate State Representative Dan Deasy and State Senator Wayne Fontana for their support of our community. In addition, the mayor and council worked together over the past 3 years to get the Green Light Go program off the ground, and you can see those new signal structures going in. Those signals are very important. They bring the borough up to standard. I have heard through various social media avenues and direct contacts to me about the aesthetics and why the structures are so large. Again, that was driven by state code. PennDOT specifies that. So just want to make sure everybody understands those were needed upgrades to the community, and we are now in compliance with our state route that goes through our community. Again, we received $750,000 through PennDOT's Green Light Go program, actually one of the highest awards in Allegheny County behind the city of Pittsburgh. So we are very fortunate, again, that our legislative body has been providing Crafton Borough lots of support. So again, thank you to that delegation for the support. And I'm sure Mayor Bloom will speak to that. We've all been waiting for those items. And in addition, the leaves are starting to fall due to some of the heat. Our public works crew is going to be working diligently to address those issues. We have a PADEP grant program that collects the leaves. So we will be working to get that apparatus up and running. So just wanted to let you know we are working towards those ends, and we are watching the hurricane forecast to make sure that all the drains are functional and that we don't have any issues during this hurricane season. So again, really appreciate all the help from the administration, the manager, the assistant manager, and the public works crew. Charisma and Catherine have been doing a wonderful job in the office. We have a new release of the Crafton newsletter going out soon. I believe it's going to be published very shortly, and the manager will touch base on that in his report. But again, we appreciate everybody raising different concerns and issues to council. And to further that mission, I've been working with the borough manager and the assistant manager to have at least once a week for the next several weeks as we go into budget season to invite council out to the different neighborhoods to take a look at any capital improvement needs that we need. So as we formulate our capital plan, that we understand the needs of your neighborhood. So again, I appreciate the manager and the assistant manager endeavoring on this. This is the first time that we've done this probably in a while, but you will see us walking through your neighborhoods. Any member of council that can become available to join in on the block walk is more than willing. Again, my thanks to the administration for making this possible. So with that, I'm going to move forward to the mayor's report.
Mr. President, the items that I would...
Hold on one second. I believe Mr. Amendola, okay, I'm just going to let Mr. Amendola have a word here. Mr. Amendola, you had your hand raised. Can you unmute yourself, please? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, the Green Light Go program. Let's give credit where credit is due. And that was a project that was started by Rob and Ann Scott, our old manager that's gone now. So you shouldn't be taking credit for that project. I see that you're trying to do that, but let's set the record straight that it was Rob and it was Ann that worked on that project for 3 years.
Well, I thank you to everybody in the borough administration and the council that have support that. Multiple councils have support that initiative. Thank you very much, Mr. Amendola. And thank you for your leadership on that as well. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mayor Bloom.
I got nothing to report.
All right. The engineer is not here this evening. We're going to proceed to the solicitor's report,
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
the manager's report.
Mr. President, I'm just going to go through some of the action items that are a little bit later, so that maybe we can eliminate some questions that may come up.
Hey, Russ, it's hard to hear you.
Yeah, you're a little muffled, Russ.
I'm sorry. Better now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me just pull this closer.
Thank you.
I'd like to go through some of the resolutions that are in the action items just to get clarification up front, so maybe we can avoid a few questions. 2012, that is the Municipal Assistance Program grant. That's through the Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED. This is a matching grant that, along with Ingram Borough, we have committed $25,000 each. This is for that overlay district that they are considering and having public meetings on, going on through the next few months. It just says that we will commit to $25,000, and hopefully they'll come up with the other half to match the professionals' involvement in putting an overlay map in the Crafton Ingram Shopping Center area. Resolution 2/2013. This is just simply a resolution to say that Crafton Borough is willing and able to accept $125,000 from the County of Allegheny for Corona expenses, and that we will spend the money in accordance to proper procedures. It's a housekeeping resolution that they require, and that money, after this resolution is passed, should be coming to the borough within about 3 weeks. And finally, Resolution 2/2014. This is the third resolution on this matter, and I realize it's a lot, but this is required by the leasing company, Leasing 2. This is the same fire truck that has been bought only once, and this is to the last resolution needed and required by them, along with about 14 or 15 other things that they sent us to finalize the leasing agreement and allow the monies to be released. Although it looks like $600 some thousand, the actual grant is $500, or the loan is $535,000. But this is what they require to make the loan a reality, and there's not much I can do about it. This is required language by the lender. And finally, there are 2 easement agreements to be ratified. They've already been signed. I believe, I'll let the solicitor correct me if I'm wrong, but one is between the Borough of Crafton and the Chartiers Nature Conservancy, and the other is between the Borough of Crafton and the Crowlington School District. Both are related to the Crafton Boulevard separation program, sewer separation program. We needed easements on a little bit of their properties, and in return, we've done some improvements for them, or made sure that things were put back in place. And then this allows that project to continue in the proper manner. Just some explanations on those resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just add real quick, Mr. President? This is
Yeah.
not Russ did sign the easement, and so did Philip when I met with the Nature Conservancy representative. And that was just for ease of meetings and coronavirus and not having to make another trip to the borough. This isn't a ratification. This is an approval by the borough. They've not been recorded or anything along those lines. The drafts have been submitted to Alcoasand for consideration of the GROW grant program at the direction of the engineer. So this isn't a ratification as much as it is council is voting to either approve or not approve those easement agreements, which are necessary for the Crafton Boulevard project. That's all.
Mr. President, I do have a few other items, and then I'll stay out of your way.
Please proceed.
The pool contractor still owes us a few things. Once we get those things in place with the engineering firm, then we will have meetings with the rec board and other concerned citizens as to how we proceed with the pool improvements. Hopefully they'll be coming in this week. We had a recent finance meeting with the small group appointed by you. Met with Jordan Tax. As it stands right now, we're we're holding our own, and we're not quite sure how and why. But there are a lot of questions going down the road as to how the high unemployment rate is going to affect our EIT collections, et cetera. But for now, everything looks okay. And to your point, yes, a newsletter is going out. Should be in the mail, I believe, by the 26th. So hopefully that'll be going out to all the residents, giving them an update of everything going on in the borough. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. All right. I'm going to proceed to the business agenda. Any questions or comments will be made after the motion's been made and seconded. Thank you. Motion to reappoint Miss Lydia Herring to the Crafton Borough Planning Commission for a 4-year term expiring April 13, 2024.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Questions, comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? Hearing none that oppose. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Herring, for all your leadership over the past few years, actually more than, I think it's almost 5-6 years now. She was part of the comprehensive plan and is now the chairwoman of the Planning Commission. Thank you for everything you're contributing to our community. Motion to approve resolution 2020-12, authorizing an application to the Pennsylvania Municipal Assistance Program for a DCD grant to help offset the cost to rewrite the current Crafton Borough zoning ordinance and create a shared overlay district with Ingram Borough.
So moved.
So moved.
Questions?
Second.
Is this the continuation of the work that we did when Coletta was running the show back last year, and we had the 2 bids come in?
So this is to further, it's the prequel to that. So this actually gets Ingram and Crafton a grant from DCED to fund one of the, whoever they select or council selects to carry out the zoning. So Crafton will zone and Ingram will zone, and the only thing that they will share between the two is the overlay. So they're gonna pay for their half and we'll pay for ours, and hopefully there'll be DCD money to offset our expenses on both sides.
So this is a separate, I'm confused. Say less words, please.
I'll attempt to answer.
Sure.
Both communities have agreed to put $25,000 in to get $25,000. Those monies will be used independently by each group to form their own zoning ordinance for each municipality. But in addition to that, there will be an overlay in that area that I mentioned before as part of it. I try to keep it as
Yeah, that answers the question, which, thank you. And so the overlay is where we would, in theory, pass an ordinance, and then we would, or Ingram would, and we would expect the other person, to pick up the same ordinance so it matches, correct?
That would be a joint overlay ordinance that both share. That is correct.
Okay. And then we would you just do our own thing, they would do their own thing.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Saba.
So it kind of seems like, from my understanding, the way that this differs, this is basically similar to what the previous council was working on towards the end of last year. But the only difference is 2 things. One, bringing Ingram to the table to work together on the overlay district, as well as utilizing grant funding versus funding out of the borough to help offset the costs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other questions, may I proceed to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All that oppose? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Advance the slide, please. Motion to approve Resolution 2020-13 approving the Coronavirus Fund Recipient Agreement between the Borough and Allegheny County.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Just one, once this is submitted, is there a timetable on when the funds would be distributed?
From what I understand from other managers, it's almost immediate, sir.
Awesome, thank you.
Mr. Amendola? Fred? Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So let me understand what this is. This is grant money coming from the county for the COVID coronavirus thing that we're gonna. It's grant money, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other hands raised, I'm going to move forward calling the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Motion to approve Resolution 2020-14 authorizing the borough manager with authority to enter into a 10-year lease purchase agreement with Leasing 2 Incorporated to finance the purchase of a 2020 Ford Guys 2250 GPM pumper truck in the amount of $969.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose? All right. Motion passes. Thank you. Motion to approve payment of $9,200.06 to SHACOG for the Year 9 Joint O&M Preventive Maintenance Project as recommended by Gateway Engineers.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Can the manager just explain, just for the general public, what this is?
Yeah, SHACOG oversees a maintenance project for our sewer repairs. We participate with the SHACOG, South Hills Area Council of Governments. They oversee it. They get the contractor involved. We give them what we need done. They go out and do the work, and everybody shares the cost. SHACOG takes a very small percentage for administrative costs. It's just a more efficient way to get one contractor in to perform work on spot repairs and sewer systems for, I'd say about 25 municipalities, give or take. And this is our share of cost.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? Motion passes. Motion to award the 2020 excavation repairs contract to Solely Construction Incorporated for the low bid of $154,360 and the 2020 sewer lining repairs contract to Jet Jack Incorporated for the low bid of $138,075 as tabulated and recommended by Gateway Engineers.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Hearing none, seeing no hands raised, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right, motion passes. Motion to approve the second and final payment application for Mealy and Mealy of $142,507.50 for the 2019 Crafton Borough Road Program as recommended by Gateway Engineers.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
just one. So this is saying that everything's completed, the punch list is done, and there are not going to be any surprises later that they completed all the things that we had brought up to them.
This is saying that the punch list is done as far as surprises go. That's why we have a performance bond.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. Seeing no other hands raised or questions. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? Hearing none that oppose, motion passes. Motion to approve the second and final, hold on, I think I read that one, right? Yes. Okay. All right. Motion to approve payment application number 1 from MMB Services LLC of $11,549.04 and $30,004.03 for work completed at the Noble and Bradford Avenue and Cornell and Linwood intersections respectively as recommended by Gateway Engineers Green Light Go project.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Just one quick one. So is this included in as part of the grant, or is this something that was separate that we pay for separately?
Manager
No,
McKibben.
This is part of the grant. We approve them payment, and then we submit that to PennDOT, and we'll get 80% of that back.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no other hands raised. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? Motion passes. Motion to reject the bid of $59,999.70 from Borough Development for the 1528 Bar Avenue asbestos abatement and house demolition project and rebid the project as recommended by Gateway Engineers.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
We're assuming that this bid is way higher than we expected and are looking for another strategy.
Yes, ma'am. We only had the one bidder. We don't know why, but that was the bottom line in this case, and it was approximately $15,000 to $20,000 more than what the estimated bid could have or should have been. But just having the one bidder in this price point just didn't seem to make sense just to accept it as is.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other hands raised or boxes light up here. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose? Motion passes.
It looks like there's a hand up.
I'm gonna, Fred, is this about the next motion? I'm gonna unmute you. If you're gonna unmute yourself.
Yes,
Is
thank
it
you.
about-
I just wanted to thank Russ and the staff for looking out for us on that, that bid for that demolition. Thanks, Russ.
Thank you, Fred. Okay. Motion to accept a proposal from Independent Enterprises to extend the road reconstruction on South Grandview Ave to Crafton Boulevard at an estimated price of $245,301 plus engineering.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
I have a question. So this was they're currently working on part of South Grandview. So this was the extension of the project that was brought to our attention in the last meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
And further question, if I recall correctly, this came in lower than what the estimate was during our discussions at the last meeting.
Yes, slightly, only because they're already staged there. They're already doing 1/3 of South Grandview. This is approximately the remaining 2/3.
Okay, thank you.
And just another quick question. This is to do, I I guess it's the longer life asphalt.
Yeah, it's to our spec. We use a PennDOT spec, full depth reconstruction, curb side to side. It will match and be contiguous with the rest of the project that we're currently installing. So it should have a very long life and withstand the significant loads that, everything from local deliveries to dump trucks put on, just like we're doing in the rest of our municipality when we do reconstructions.
And the recommendation of the engineer as well, so.
Yes. All right. Seeing no other hands raised, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? Motion passes. Motion to approve the negotiated easement agreements with the Carlinton School District and the Chartiers Nature Conservancy that help further the Crafton Boulevard sewer separation project.
So moved.
Second.
Seeing no hands raised or boxes light up here, I'm going to proceed the move. Oh, Fred, you want to have the floor and unmute yourself, please?
Okay, sorry. I'm going to vote no on this because I still don't understand how we're going to put more water into Bell's Run and not get more flooding down by Moran's Road. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amendola. And again, just as a reminder to the public and to council, these projects have been approved by multiple engineering committees at Alcosan, PWSA, which is Pittsburgh Water Sewer Authority, and our engineers. So there are professional engineers licenses on the line for all these projects that we've been applying for. So thank you. Seeing no other hands raised or boxes light up here with questions, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All that oppose?
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Amendola. Motion passes. Thank you. Motion, sorry, it's small on my PowerPoint because I have the two screens open. Motion to authorize the advertisement and hiring of 2 part-time employees in the Public Works Department to assist in the 2020 LEAF program. Funds for this employment will come from the sewer fund.
So moved.
Second.
Manager McKibben, would you speak to this?
I was informed by the Public Works foreman that none of the summer work help, actually none of them are working now, they're all back to school, and that he would need assistance in the LEAF program, which I suspect, and I am not an arborist, but with the hot weather and everything else, I think the leaves will be falling quickly this year and soon. Based on what he asked of me this morning, I asked this to be on the agenda just to hasten that hiring so that we have a part-time help to assist in picking up, which I believe will be numerous leaves, early leaves throughout the borough.
Mr. Crown, I see your hand is raised. Would you unmute yourself, please, and speak, please? You have the floor.
Yes. I know that we brought this up, or I know I brought this up since, gosh, April or May, that with all the projects we're doing and all the things we're doing throughout the borough and trying to get things done, pool renovations, some of the play areas getting better. We did that paving of the alley. We're very thin on workers. I believe we have 6 public works employees. And I believe like this motion here should be a discussion item, or should have been a discussion item, so that we can discuss the staffing needs of the Public Works Department, like we've all said for at least the last 6 months, and I know some of you have told me that you discussed it in the past. So I think that we need a general plan, and I would ask Mr. Sample to see if he can work and get us a plan of what our staffing level should be with the amount of work we're looking at, viable options if it's going to come out of a sewer fund or road fund or general fund, and how we can pay for this. I know we have a retirement coming up in May, if I'm not mistaken, and possibly a couple in the next year or two after that. So what is our staffing need? So we don't have these types of motion. Is it some part-time, full-time people? What do we need? And Doug, you were here, I believe, when we did some of that.
That's 15.
Thank you, Mr. Crown. Mr. Amendola, your hand was raised. Could you unmute yourself?
Yes, I think that we've gotten this information from 2 managers and the guy running the street department. What's his title?
Foreman?
Yeah, the foreman. We've gotten this information from them that we need these people. And clearly, Mr. Crown, it says at the end of the ordinance that this money is coming from the sewer fund to hire a couple of people that they need some help. And are we going to start to micromanage them again? Are we going to start to micromanage the managers? We have 2 managers now. And they've gotten together and thought about this and came to us and told us what we needed. And now we're going to second guess them.
Maybe if I could, can everybody hear me? I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
Yes, please proceed.
I'm sorry, I'm doing it old school. Yeah, Mr. Killen did speak with me last week about this. And I know from my previous experience here that leave season is always quite a daunting task. And I think it would be prudent that we at least advertise for these part-time employees, because we did keep a part-timer on in the fall season for this. And I can definitely work with the manager on a more comprehensive staffing, because we are doing a lot more in the sewer work. And so I think that's something that I'll work with Manager McKibben on. To give to council, but I do think that these hires are appropriate, just in my past experience.
Thank you, Mr. Sample. Mr. Saba, your hand's been raised.
So I just had a question, because the first time that I saw this was in the manager's report that came out this afternoon. So I just wanted to make sure that this is something that, because I know we changed up the format of the meetings to where the first meeting is a discussion meeting, the second meeting's a voting meeting. So I just wanted to make sure if this is something that, is it something we need to vote on today, or is this something that we can table it to the discussion meeting and have a very robust conversation behind all the staffing needs for Public Works?
May I comment?
Yes, Mr. McKibben.
I actually have no issue in tabling this till the first meeting in September. My rationale was just based on a recommendation or a discussion that I had with both Doug and Dave, the foreman. I don't know how many leaves fall in Crafton, let me be honest with you. But if there's a solution, and if this is a staffing solution that we need to discuss, I'm all for it. I was just looking at our budget. I was looking at possible revenue shortfalls, COVID related, and whether or not we have the ability to put more full-timers on. And these may be more in-depth discussions than just what I tried to do here today. If I was wrong, please table the motion, and I'll be more than happy to sit down and discuss it with anyone at any time.
So here's my question. So, because advertising is one thing, hiring is another. If we were to advertise now, what would be the cost to advertise? Because what I would like is, if for the next meeting, if we can actually have this on the agenda in the next discussion meeting, to have a full conversation behind, what our Public Works needs, for the staffing for this year as well as next year, especially leading into the budget season. But if we're talking, if it's only maybe 50 or $100, or whatever it may be, that if we put it now, see what the response is, it might not hurt versus waiting another 2 weeks.
Okay, Mr. Crown, your hand's been raised. You've been patiently waiting.
Yeah, I have to respond to Mr. Amendola, it's not about micromanaging. I don't micromanage the manager or the managers.
Oh, yes, you do.
Thanks, Fred, but I got the floor. Appreciate it. It's about what the overall staffing need is. I believe that we've been talking about it for the last 6 months. What is our staffing need? If this motion goes through, that's fine, but I think we do have to have that discussion on what our Public Works Department needs, how many people they need to function. We have a lot of projects coming up right after leaf season. I would imagine that they're jumping back into the pool to finish the pool house renovations for the spring opening. And like you said, the sewers and a lot of the other things that are going on in Crafton. So it's not necessarily about hiring part-timers. It's all, what do we need? What does Crafton need in terms of public works employees? And that's what I would like Doug and Manager McKibben to have that discussion and bring some information to us to see maybe our department is fine. Maybe we need to sub out more work. That's possible. But I think that a good, robust conversation in the spirit of improving our public works department should be had. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Crown. Ms. Perry?
Yes, I see this as a little bit of both and. We're talking about something for leaf season. We are mentioning part-time. I guess one question would be, are we talking about part-time seasonal, so it would also be temporary to fill this need that we have now? And while we have been talking for 6 months and even before that about staffing needs, budget season is coming up, and I agree, we need to have that conversation so that we can adequately prepare next year's budget. But leaves are going to start dropping pretty soon, and I would rather us not wait to meet this need. And one question is this seasonal, temporary, as well as part-time?
Okay. Thank you. May I, I'm just going to interject, everybody. Solicitor Corbel, when we advertise through, let's say, the Post-Gazette, does that get cross-listed with Monster or any of those other listing websites?
I don't know if they do anymore. At one point, they were also cross-listed with an online service. I'm not sure if that's the case any longer. An advertisement like this would probably run a few $100.
Okay, because I put this out to council. I believe when we're posting, we need to also put it in a digital platform outside of just the Post-Gazette's print.
Mr. President, real quick, I will tell you that sites like Indeed, they don't pull listings anymore because they want you to pay to be able to post. So while they might have used to cross post in the past, that's not the case anymore.
So there is some sort of, I'm sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand. I've never figured this out. So I'm sorry. I will, I promise, for the next meeting.
Okay. Could I let Mr. Amendola speak? He's had his hand
raised.
I don't want to. Okay. Fred, could you unmute yourself? You have the floor. You waited.
Hey, Doug, I can help you with that unmuting thing.
Oh, thank you.
I think that both managers have made it clear to us that the college kids that worked part-time over the summer are gone and they need some help. So they're looking for part-time, a couple of part-time people. And it's not that we're adding on more employees. We're just trying to replace the ones that have gone back to school. And there's a real need here. So, those are the people that we've entrusted to run our borough, run our street department. And, they're telling us what they need and we're putting it off.
Thank you, Mr. Amendola. Mr. Sample.
Yeah, there. The Post-Gazette where they do that, and I think if we post it on our social platforms as well, that's going to be a lot of interest to this type of position that we're looking for, because it is going to be a very seasonal type position as councilman.
All right. Well, I'm under the impression that both the manager and the assistant manager have this under control. So
Mr. President, I did have, since I can't physically raise my hand as a co-host,
yes, go ahead.
I wanted to just ask Mr. McKibben if he could just give us an idea of what the timeline of his hiring process would be. My second point also would be to our solicitor, the wording of our resolution here to authorize the advertisement and the hiring. Should it specifically note that it's seasonal temporary, as Ms. Coletta Perry had pointed out, and also should it just be the advertisement of hiring, not and hiring? I'll just leave it on those points.
I think those questions were directed to me. Again, let me be perfectly frank. This was a stopgap decision.
Mr. McKibben, sure, I understand that. I just want to get an idea of if we authorize the advertisement, I guess when are we looking at hopefully getting our applications by and hopefully getting them put to work, like the interviewing process?
ASAP, and quite frankly, that may not happen. So if it doesn't, then we're going to have to revisit how we're going to handle this. And to that end, then maybe we do have those discussions and look at more of a long-term thing. Again, the issue was raised to me this morning. There's a meeting tonight. A decision was made on my part, and strictly mine, to put this forward. If it's the wrong decision, I've been wrong before. I have no problem with that. And if there's a secondary motion to table, I'm fine with that as well.
All right, council. How would you all like to proceed? Is there a motion to move forward? All right, can we move forward? And if so, I'm going to say all in favor, and if not, then somebody can move to table this.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, can the solicitor speak on my question about the wording of our current motion, about whether we need to modify it to specifically denote the temporary seasonal versus what's read?
I think it's a distinction without a difference, not necessary to change. And the motion is to advertise and hire, so this won't come back to council. If you pass this motion, it will end the issue, and it'll be up to Mr. McKibben, Mr. Sample to choose the individual and move on.
Call the vote.
Yeah, I call the vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right. Thank you for the discussion. Motion passes. There are no discussion items. We're going to move forward to community announcements. Borough parks are open and shelters available for Crafton residents to rent. The borough strongly advises that social distancing should be maintained. The borough office will remain closed to the public. However, staff is available during normal business hours and can be reached via telephone or email. There's a drop box in the rear of the building for any written correspondence. Any changes to this action will be posted to the borough website and Savvy Citizen. The Crafton Library will continue with limited hours for curbside only service. Please visit their website for further details. Crafton Borough will be having its annual fireworks display on Sunday, September 6, 2020 at 8:30 p.m. The State Representative, State Senator Fontana's shred event will be 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Crafton Park on Saturday, September 19th. In addition, Manager McKibben, I think there's a electronics recycling. If you could put that on the website too, that'd be wonderful. The Crafton Volunteer Fire Department has organized a free milk giveaway where families can receive 2 gallons of free milk on Wednesday, August 26th from 9 a.m. to noon. The drive-through event will take place behind the Borough building along Station Street, which can be accessed by both White Avenue and East Crafton Avenue. Mr. Crown, would you like to add anything to that awesome initiative?
Oh, the Milk Society, they called us. They have milk to give away. They've given away 3,000 or 4,000 gallons of milk in their last 2 drives. Anybody that comes through receives 2 gallons of milk. And I think it's good for our community to have this event.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to everybody at the fire department for helping organize that event. The Planning Commission is kicking off a series of community planning workshops with an intro session this Wednesday, August 26th at 7 p.m. via a Zoom webinar. Registration information is on the Borough website. In addition, the Borough Planning Commission's regular meeting is tomorrow evening at 7. The discount period for the Carleton School District and Borough property taxes ends at the end of this month, August 31st, 2020. Representatives from Jordan Tax Service will be in the lobby of the community building on Thursday, August 27th from 9 a.m. until noon, and Monday, August 31st from 1 p.m. and 4 p.m.
Mr. President, there's actually one announcement I'd like to add, but also just wanted to note that Mr. Amendola has his hand raised as well.
Yes, sir.
So first, I just wanted to add in, so the Crafton Recreation Board has come up with a haunted Crafton tour. The information can be found on the borough's website, but basically this was an idea that springboarded off of Miss Luxbacher's idea of doing if you have a haunted house or a story about your house, the rec board is planning on doing where folks can stay in their cars and drive from home to home. We are currently gauging interest to see who would like to participate. If you have a story about your home or something that you would like to do that is family friendly, there is 2 ways to submit. If you go to the borough's website, you can actually submit your name and information through the site, or you can email recreation@craftonborough.com. But more information will also be in the newsletter that's coming out soon in the mail.
Thank you. Mr. Amendola, you're recognized. You have the floor.
Just getting back to opening up a park. It's great to hear that we're going to open up a park, and I'm going to keep bringing up the fact that we should probably move our meetings to the stage and have people come with their chairs and an open air thing, and we could also do Zoom. We could do both at the park, face to face, have a meeting, and do the Zoom also. So I'm going to keep bringing that up. And since we're going to get the parks opened up, I wish some of you would consider it.
Thank you, Mr. Amendola. All right, with that, I'm going to move to adjournment. Thank you very much for this evening. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Have a good evening.